38. Importance and origin of the earth. The Lord. However, part of such dissolved spirits still want to make the way through the flesh on any of the planets. Some go through it on the sun, on any of the belts, which of course is most suitable to them. However, only to this earth are coming very few, since the way through the flesh appears to them too difficult, because here they even have to give up all recollection to any former state, and enter a completely new being right from the beginning, which is not the case on other planets and world bodies. To start with, the incarnated spirits there still have a dreamlike recollection of all the former states. And the result of this is that the people on other planets and world bodies are fundamentally a lot wiser and sober than on this earth. But therefore they are not able to progress any further to a higher level of free life. They resemble, like said already before, more the animals of this earth, which have by nature a certain instinct-like education for their being, by which they always express a great skill and perfection, so that man with all his reason is not able to copy them with respect to certain actions. There are, however, those who take on the necessary training, that they, in an emergency, can be used for very simple and most coarse work, like the ox to pull, the horse, the donkey, and the camel to carry, a dog to sniff out, hunt and pull. But beyond that, you will not be able to teach them anything more, and regarding speech, absolutely nothing can be achieved. The simple cause lies therein that a blunt recollection to their former states imprisons the animal souls like a judgment, and continuously keeps them busy, so that they live in a certain anesthesia. Only with all people of this earth it is the case like nowhere else, that they lose all recollection, and therefore have to start right from the beginning with a completely new life order and new education, which is set up in such a way that every person can grow to the fullest resemblance of God. Therefore, such a soul can only be incarnated on this earth, which either originates from the sun, where still all the primordial elements are present, already went through the way of the flesh there, and as such have collected all those soul intelligence specifics, which are necessary for the perfection of the highest spiritual life. Or a soul originates directly from this earth, and has previously passed through all three so-called nature kingdoms, from the coarsest stone matter, through all mineral layers, from there through the complete plant world, and lastly through the complete animal world in the water, on earth and in the air. Of course, here one should not think of the physical body, but the soul spiritual element which is present in its shell, since in the further analysis also the shell is soul spiritual, but in itself it is still too common, too sluggish and too ungainly, and is still a too heavy expression of self-love, selfishness, haughtiness, and the most sluggish, lazy pleasure of the greediest, stingy, and death-bringing angry imperiousness. Such matter must first, by manifold decaying and only partial transformation, be absorbed in a more pure soul skin and dress substance. However, For an actual soul substance, it will most likely never be usable. For this reason, on this earth, there exist many more different types of minerals, plants and animals than on all other planets and suns, of course each regarded individually. Altogether would probably make a greater type sum, but every other world body individually seen in the whole space of creation does not even contain 1 in 100,000 of the many types, like here on this earth, in each of its 3 kingdoms. Therefore, only this earth is destined to carry the children of God in the truest sense. But how and why is such? There are extremely peculiar circumstances related to this earth. As planet, it belongs to this sun, but it is, strictly speaking, not like all the other planets, with the exception of the one between Mars and Jupiter, which, because of certain evil reasons, was already destroyed 6,000 years ago, or actually was destroyed by itself and its inhabitants from this sun, but originally comes from the primordial central sun, and is in a certain regard for you, an unthinkable time older than this sun. Nevertheless, it actually only became a body after this sun has long since started as a developed world lump, with its first orbit around its central sun, but, nevertheless, has attracted its actual physical body mainly from this sun,